Guys, hopefully you are doing well. We were doing illustration number 4 and two parts have been completed, and it is I'm very hopeful that it's the last part. What we have already done is from the question we have completed our journal entries, and we have started making ledgers. Some of the ledgers we have already completed. What we have already done is cash ledger completed, capital ledger completed, banks ledger completed, furniture purchase, Karachi sale, Rafiq. These ledgers have already been completed, and now we are supposed to make ledgers for the transaction which are unmarked. You have seen over here, these are the transactions which are already marked. That means these journal entries have already been posted into the ledgers. So what we are in need to do to make ledgers for the rest of journal entries. Here this transaction has not been marked. It means next ledger we are going to make is for return out. What I will do, I will just take headings from the previous ledger and will use to make heading for the next ledger. Here you are and just coming here, it's very easy for you to understand that headings for previous lecture is absolutely same for the headings of next ledger, and just we are needed to change the title. Now we are doing return in. Title has been changed and change the number as well. So this way you can see that all headings for the previous ledger is same to the all headings for the current ledgers. Just we have changed the title and ledger number. Return in. Okay, rule I'm just reminding you, it's very simple. You are making return ins ledger. So when you will see return in the question, what you will do, you will see if it is debit, post in the debit side of the ledger. If it is present on the credit side, post in credit side of ledger. So relationship of journal ledger is absolutely parallel. What is debit in journal would be posted on the debit side of the ledger. Whatever is present on credit side of journal, you will post on credit side of the ledger. So we are actually making return in. So instead of return in, we do have return out. So first we will complete return out and then we will make return in. So here title of our ledger is return out. So come over here, you can see return out is present and it is being credited. Return out credit 3000. So go to the return out, write down 3000 over here. All right, now see its reference. What is written on the opposite side of return? That is Karachi account payable. So you are going to write Karachi over here, and it's better to mention account payable as well beside Karachi. See what was the date of 3000 entry. It was January 14. So you are going to put January 14 in date column. This way entry has been completed, posting has been completed for January 14. Now see if anything else is present for return out. Just this transaction January 14 we have already posted, mean it is also completed. Now we are looking for return out, going downside, and from here to here you were looking for return out and nothing is present. It means return out's ledger is completed. There was only one entry. It's time to balance it. First step first, total of credit side, there is only one amount, so total of credit side is 3000, and total of debit side, nothing is mentioned over here, so total of debit side is 0. Make comparison of both amounts and pick the larger sum. Larger sum is 3000, so you are going to put this larger sum on total of both sides. So 3000 you are putting over here, and same 3000 you are going to put on debit side total as well. Here you can see that 3000 have been posted on both sides of total. What you have learned from it? Step number 1, to calculate the sum, choose higher sum, and larger sum would be posted on total of both sides. Here total wasn't 3000, but you will have to follow the same methodology. Larger total will be put on total of both sides. Third step, you will choose the smaller side. Here sum was 0 and sum of credit side was 3000, so smaller side is debit side. You will write buy balance over here, but since it's an initial balance, how would you calculate? By subtracting smaller amount from the larger amount. So what I'm saying, larger amount minus smaller amount, you will get its balance. What was the larger sum? Here we have calculated sum of both sides, 3000 and 0. Larger sum was 3000. You are subtracting smaller sum, which was 0. So here you have got the balance. All right, first step for calculation of balance is completed, and next step is just to brought it down. Brought it down, when you will be doing, it means you will go to the opposite side and will bring it down. This is called balance bringing down. Same amount which is written over and above in initial balance, same amount would be written over here, but with a different name. You will write buy balance over here, but this balance would be considered as brought down. And this was our requirement, and requirement has completed. It means return outs ledger is also completed. Mark it as it has been done by putting a closing line. These were sums of both sides which were written just for the reference. Our purpose has been completed. They are now unneeded to be written here, so we are going to erase them. Our return out ledger is completed. Now let's see what next ledger we are going to make. Next element is return in. This is vacant, as you can see it is unmarked, so next ledger is return in. What we will do, we will make the same ledger pattern, same ledger format. So we are taking headings from the previous ledger and posting for next ledger format. Just we are needed to change the title. Instead of return out, we are now making return ins ledger, and this is number 10 ledger. Remaining everything you can see is same. All headings on debit side, all headings on credit side are similar to the previous ledgers. So we are now focusing upon return in. Wherever we will see return in, we will pick, and here return in has arrived in January 16. Return in debited by 2000, so go to return in ledger and post 2000 on debit side. It's time to see the reference. So what was the reference of return in? Here you have return in. What is written on the opposite side? It's Rafiq. Let's correct the spellings. So we have Rafiq over here, which is reference. So we'll go to our ledger and we'll write to Rafiq in particular column as a reference. For this 2000 entry, let's check it out. What is the date? It's January 16. Put date January 16 in date column. This way entry has been completed. Let's see if any other journal entry has returned in. This was the entry we were related with and it has been posted. That means entry has been completed. So we will look return in if it is present in other journal entries. Here you are coming down, these are vacant entries. Please check over here if return in is present. So no, return in is not present. That means ledger of return in, posting of this ledger has been completed. It's time to calculate the balance. Same step, total of debit side, which is 2000, only one amount is present, and you are going to calculate balance on credit side. Nothing is present, 0. Make comparison of both totals. Larger sum you will pick and you are going to write that larger sum on both side. First you will write this total on debit side 2000, and what I'm saying, larger sum will be posted on both sides, so pick this total and write on opposite side as well. Second step is completed. Now you will see what side is smaller side. Total of debit was 2000, total of credit was 0. It means this is smaller side. Here you will write by balance, but this is initial balance. How would you calculate? By subtracting smaller amount from the larger amount. That means larger minus smaller amount. So larger sum was 2000. Here you can see it. You will write 2000 and you will subtract the smaller total, which was 0. Put 0 over here. Here you have got the balance. It is initial balance. First step of calculation of balance is completed. Second step is to bring it down. You will go to the opposite side and will write the same balance downwards. That is why we are bringing it down. The technical term is balance is brought down. So you are supposed to write the same balance 2000 on opposite side but downwards. Here you will write to balance, but this balance is to be written as brought down. The balance we have brought down, so that is why it is called balance BD. This was our requirement for the ledger. Requirement completed means ledger has been completed, so mark it as it has been done by putting a closing line. These two sums were calculated just for the reference. Now they are unneeded to be written over here. Just erase them. So return in's ledger is also completed. Return in, here was return in, we have marked it as has been done. Now these are unmarked entries. Next ledger is discount received ledger. So what you will do, you will make same pattern for the ledgers. So taking headings from the previous ledger and writing the same headings. Since now we are making a different ledger, which is discount received, so just mention it is discount received. All right, and ledger number you will change, it is 11th ledger. So come over here, you have seen discount received, it is credited by 200. Go to your ledger and choose credit side, write 200 over here. See what is the reference of this 200. This is your discount received. What is written on the opposite side? Karachi account payable. Go to the ledger and write down by Karachi, and it was your account payable. Mentioning account payable is also very helpful. Now see for 200 what was the date. Here January 17 was the date of this transaction. Put January 17 in date column. Posting has been completed. We are making discount received. Now let's check it out if discount received is present at anywhere else. This was your discount received. We have already posted it. It is completed. Mark it as it has been done. From above entries, you can see that all entries are marked. It means we don't have to look at upper level or upper side. We will look down if discount received is present. Now see, you can see over here no discount is present after this discount, which is already posted. So it means nothing is to be included in this ledger. It's time to balance it. Step number 1, we have calculated this sum for so many times, just with the hope that you have understood the way to balance in a proper way. First step is what? Just calculate the total of both sides. Total of credit side is 200 as there was only one amount. Total of debit side is 0 as nothing is mentioned over here. Both total you have calculated. Now select the larger sum. Among these two, 200 and 0, larger sum is 200. So what you will do, you will going to write this 200 on both sides. Here you will write 200 on debit side. Larger sum would be written on total of both sides. So debit and credit side total both 200. Second step is completed. First step was to calculate totals, then comparison of sum. Larger sum you have picked and written on total of both sides. Third step, choose smaller side. Smaller side is debit side as its total was 0. Write down over here to balance. This is initial balance. How would you calculate this initial balance? By subtracting smaller total from the larger total. That means larger total minus smaller total. So calculate what was the larger sum in discount receive. Here 200 was the larger sum, smaller sum was 0, as you can see. This way you have calculated your balance for the discount received. First step is completed for calculation of balance. Next step is to bring it downward but opposite side. On opposite side you are going to write the same balance which you have calculated initially, and write down its reference as by balance but with brought down. This was our requirement for any ledger. Balance brought down has been calculated. It means our purpose of making ledger completed. Ledger completed, mark it as it has been done by putting a closing line over here. These two balances were written just for the reference. Now they are unneeded to be written over here. Just erase them. Alright, discount received column is completed. Let's see what else we have. You can see that discount received, it has been marked. So next entry is cash. Cash is already been posted. It is January 20, 3900. January 20, you can see here we have already posted 3900. So mark it as it has been done. It was missed in previous making of ledgers. Next is discount allowed. It is unmarked. So now we are going to make discount allowed. This was discount received, and now we will make the same pattern for ledger. We will change the title. It was discount received, and now we are going to make ledger for discount allowed. Both ledger will be made separately, discounts received and discount allowed. You can mix it, but it's better to make different ledger. One thing more, you are needed to change the number as well. Number is also very important. So go to the journal and see how many entries do have discount allowed. This is our first entry, January 20. Discount allowed is debited by 100 rupees. So go discount allowed and write 100 on debit side. Now see its reference. For 100, this was your discount which was debited. What is written on the opposite side? Rafiq. So you are going to write to Rafiq on discount is allowed. So you have received, it means it is your account receivable. Now see what was the reference of 100. You can see here Rafiq was account receivable. Date is January 20. So now put January 20 in date column. This way you have completed its posting. Now see if discount allowed is present in any other entry. This was your discount allowed, 100 is posted, means it is completed. Mark it as it has been done. Now look at discount allowed for any other entries. As you can see, all above entries are marked. We don't need to look on these entries present on the upper side. See if discount allowed is present in downward. No discount allowed is present. It means our posting for discount allowed is completed. It's time to calculate the balance. First step, calculate total of both sides. 100 is total of debit side. Nothing is mentioned on credit side, so 0 is total of credit side. First step is completed. Now make a comparison. Which sum is the larger total? Larger sum is 100, so you are needed to put this total on both sides. What you will do, you will write 100 on debit side and you will be writing the same total on credit side as well. 100 over here. Two steps completed. First step, calculated the total, made comparison, larger sum is put on both sides, total of both sides. Third step is to choose smaller side. Total of this side was 0, so here is the smaller side. Write down by balance over here. By it's an initial balance which would be calculated by subtracting smaller sum from the larger sum. What I'm saying, larger sum minus smaller sum, with which you will calculate the balance. And now calculate balance by subtracting smaller sum from the larger sum. What was the larger sum? Here you can see it is 100 and smaller sum is 0. Put 0 over here. This way you will be able to calculate the balance. It is initial balance, and now it's time to go for next step. Next step is to brought it down to the opposite side. Balance was 100, you are needed to brought it down to the opposite side. Opposite side, here you will write the same balance over here but with a twisted name. By balance you will write, but this balance would be called balance brought down. This was our requirement for making ledger. Requirement is completed. It means ledger for discount allowed is also completed. Mark it as it has been done by putting a closing line over here. These sums were written just for the reference. They are now not needed to be written over here. You can erase them. Discount allowed ledger is completed, and this was discount allowed 100. You have marked it. Now next entry, which is unmarked, is loss by fire. You are now needed to make ledger for loss by fire. So come over here and make ledger for loss by fire. You can see headings are absolutely similar. We are just needed to change its title, and we are now going to make loss by fire. It change its number. Now we are on 13th number. As you can see, there is no difference of titles and we are using the same titles. Just needed to extend our lines. Loss by fire. Okay, come to the journal. Here you have seen loss by fire. It is debited by 4,000. Go to your ledger and write down 4,000 on debit side, because loss by fire was written on the debit side. Loss by fire is written. It's time to see the reference. What is written on the opposite side? It is purchase. Write down to purchase over here. Now see its date. Loss by fire, date is January 22. Put date January 22 over here. This way the posting for ledger is completed for journal entry January 22. I would like to request, whatever I am doing, please, everything is important to be done by you as well. Do not relax yourself. Do not compromise with your presentation. Each and every line is important. Each and every heading is important. So please don't do anything which is unpresentable. January 22nd. So what you have done, January 22nd, 4,000 is posted. Mark it as it has been done. We are making ledger for loss by fire. Look at downwards if loss by fire is present anywhere else. No, it means entries for loss by fire is completed. It's time to calculate the balance. For balance, you will calculate sum of both sides. Here sum of debit side is 4,000 and sum of credit side is also 4,000, is 0, as nothing has been mentioned over here. First step completed. Total of both sides. Make comparison. Which sum is the larger sum? That is 4,000. So you are needed to write this balance on both sides. What you will do, you will write 4,000 on debit side and same balance you are going to write on credit side as well. Write 4,000. So what you have done, sum of both sides, you have chosen the larger sum and you have written the same larger sum on total of both sides. Step number 2, choose the smaller side. Sum of this side was 0, it was credit side, so you will choose it and will write by balance over here. It is an initial balance. How you would calculate that initial balance? By subtracting smaller sum from the larger sum. What I am saying is larger sum minus smaller sum. Now calculate. What was the larger sum? It was 4,000, as you can see over here, and you will subtract smaller sum, which was 0. So here you have calculated your sum. First step is completed. Next step is just to transfer this sum to the downward side, brought it down. That is why it is called balance brought down. 4,000 you have written in front of initial balance, and same balance you are needed to write here on downward with a twisted name to balance, but this balance is to be called brought down, balance brought down. Or since this was our requirement for making any ledger and requirement is completed, it means ledger is completed, mark it as it has been done. These two balances were written just for the reference. Now they are unneeded to be written over here. You can erase them. Loss by fire ledger is completed. Here you were having loss by fire. It is already marked, completed. Now next element is drawings. It is still unmarked, so we are in need to make the ledger for drawings. What we will do, we will hire headings from the previous ledger and will post to the next ledger. The only thing needed is to change its heading. We were making loss by fire and now it's time to make ledger for drawings. Change its number as well. It's 14th ledger we are making drawings. Alright, now go to the journal and see where drawings are present. Here first entry we have found out 3,000 is debited. Go to the ledger and write down 3,000 on debit side. Now see its reference for drawings. This was drawings. What is written on the opposite side? Purchase. Go to the ledger and write down to purchase in reference column. Go again and check it out. The date drawings January 24. Write down date as January 24 over here. Alright, so now let's see if drawings are present anywhere else as well. This was drawings. 3,000 was the amount we already posted. Mark it as it has been done. Now what else we have? 4 entries are present, but drawings are not present in any of the other entry. It means all posting related to drawings is completed. It's time to calculate the balance. First step, get total of both sides. Sum of debit side is 3,000 as there was only one amount. Sum of credit side, nothing is mentioned over here, 0 balance. Make comparison. Which sum is the larger sum? 3,000. So pick it and write this larger sum on total of both sides. Hopefully it is now not difficult for you to remember it. For your process of memorization, we have calculated this balance for 14 times. So I'm very hopeful now it's just in your mind without any burden. 3,000 you have written total on both sides. First step, total of both sides, sum of both sides you have calculated. It was sum of the debit side was 3,000, sum of credit side was 0. Larger sum you picked and written on total of both sides. Step number 2, you will choose the smaller side. Here sum was 0, so smaller side is credit side. There you will write by balance. This balance is initial balance and will be calculated by subtracting smaller sum from the larger sum. That means larger sum minus smaller sum you will do. What was the larger sum? Here sum of debit side was 3,000 and 0. Larger sum was 3,000. Write down it. And smaller sum was 0. put 0 over here. So first step of calculation of balance you have calculated. Now second step is what? To bring it down to the opposite side. What you are doing? You are taking this balance and going to write it opposite side but downwards. So same amount you will brought down 3000 over here, and with a twisted name what you will do, you will write to balance, a different name, brought down. Why we are writing brought down? As we have taken this balance, initial balance, and we have brought it down. Initial balance we were bringing it down but opposite side, that is why it is called balance brought down. It was our requirement for making ledger is completed, that means drawings ledger is completed. So mark it as it has been done by putting a closing line. These two balances were written just for the reference, now they are unneeded to be written over here, so you are going to erase them. Drawings ledger is completed. Here we were having drawings already marked. Now let's see what is next for us. This is unmarked entry and typewriter. So we are going to make next ledger for typewriter. I am taking the same heading from previous ledger and going to change the title. The next ledger we are making is for typewriter. Okay, or change the number as well. 15th ledger we are making, but still all headings are similar. For 15th ledger, come over here, typewriter is debited by 10,000. So go to the typewriter account, choose debit side, write down 10,000 in amount column. Now look at typewriter. You are needed to write the reference. What is written on the opposite side? To bank. So you are going to write over here to bank. Okay, put the date. What was date for this typewriter? January 26. All right, put date over here, January 26 in date column. This way posting for January 26 is completed. We are making ledger of typewriter. 10,000 amount was to be written. We have posted it, completed. Now see if typewriter is present over here. Nothing. It means all posting related to typewriter is completed. It's time to calculate the balance. First step, total of both sides. Sum of debit side is 10,000. Sum of credit side, nothing is mentioned over here. It is 0. Make comparison. Which sum is the larger sum? That is 10,000. So you are in need to put this balance on both sides. 10,000 you have written on total of debit side, and what you will do, you are going to write same balance on credit side as well. Two steps completed. Step 2, next step is to choose the smaller side. Sum of debit 10,000, sum of credit 0, it means smaller side is credit side. Here you will be writing by balance. It is initial balance. How it would be calculated? By subtracting smaller total from the larger total. That means larger minus smaller total. How would you calculate it? Larger sum was 10,000, you can see over here, and you will subtract smaller sum. And what is smaller sum? It is 0. Here you have calculated your initial balance. It was your first step, and next step is to brought it down but at opposite side. 10,000 is written on credit side. We will go to the opposite side, that means debit side, and will write the same balance on opposite side but downwards. With a twisted name, this would be called balance, but this balance would be called brought down. All right, mark it as it has been done. So typewriter's ledger is completed. Since balance was main requirement completed, so we are marking it as it has been done by putting a closing line. These two balances were calculated just for the reference. They are unneeded now. You can erase it. So let's go for our next step. Typewriter was the ledger which we were making. Here you have typewriter. It is already marked as completed. Next step is free sampling. Let's look our journal entries. We have started from here and each and every element was posted. So here there are three different elements present still and we are needed to make their ledgers. Next ledger we are making is for free sampling. So we are going to make format for next ledger, hiring entries from previous ledger. Next ledger we were making is for free sampling. All right, so we are just going to change the name. Instead of typewriter we are making free sampling. Ledger number would be changed, 16th ledger it is. Remaining all headings you can see is similar. Go to journal entries, take free sampling, it is debited by 4000. Come to the ledger and write down 4000 on debit side. Okay, see its reference for free sampling. This was free sampling we were writing. What is written on the opposite side? To purchase. So as a reference you will write to purchase in particular column, reference completed. Now see what was its date, January 28. So put date over here, January 28. This way posting has been completed for free sampling. J28 was the date. Free sampling 4000 was required to be posted completed. See if free sampling is present in rest of entries. No, it means all posting for free sampling is completed. It's time to calculate the balance. First step is to take sum of both sides. Sum of debit side 4000. As there is only one amount, sum of credit side is 0. First step is completed. Now make the comparison of both sides, 4000 and 0. Which sum is the larger sum? That is 4000. So you will be putting this 4000 on total of both sides. You have written 4000 on debit side and same balance you will be writing on credit side as well. Two steps completed. Third step, choose smaller side. 4000 debit side, 0 credit side, smaller side is credit side. Write down over here by balance, but this is an initial balance. How would you calculate? By subtracting smaller total from the larger total. That means larger minus smaller total. And here you have got the balance. How? You will choose larger balance, which is 4000, and will subtract smaller balance, which is 0. So here how you have calculated your initial balance. Step 1 is completed for calculation of balance. Now next step is to brought it down to the opposite side. You have calculated this balance on credit side. Go to debit side, choose downward line and write down the same balance which we have calculated over here with the twisted name. To balance you will write over here. This balance would be called balance brought down, and this was our requirement for making the ledger. Requirement completed. It means this ledger is also completed. Mark it as it has been done. These two sums were written just for the reference. Now they are unnecessary to be written over here. Just erase them. Free sampling ledger we were making, and you can see that it is already marked. So there are only two entries left. We are now making ledger for the salaries. Procedure is same, format is same, so we will take entries from the headings from the previous ledger and will post same. Just we are going to change its title. We are now up to salaries. So next ledger is for salaries. Look at the journal entries. We are making for salaries. Salary is debited by 6000. What we will do, we will go to the ledger of salary, we'll choose debit side and going to write 6000 on debit side for salaries. So this was the amount we had posted. It's now time to see the reference. Amount was posted for salaries. What is written on the opposite side? To bank. So this to bank will be used to give the reference in particular column. Now let's see what was the date for salaries. It is January 31, and write down January 31 over here. Date is also completed January 31, 6,000. For salaries, there was only one entry we have already posted. Mark it as it has been done, and now nothing is present. In the next entry you can see salaries are not present. It means posting for salaries is completed. All right, now it's time to calculate the balance. For balance, what you will do, you will take sum of both sides. Okay, sum of both sides you are needed to calculate. So sum of debit side is 6,000. Sum of credit side, nothing is mentioned over here, zero balance. There was only one amount on debit side. So total debit 6,000, total credit 6,000. Make comparison. Which sum is the larger sum? It is 6,000. So you will be putting this total balance of 6,000 on both sides. You have written 6,000 on total of debit side, and same total would be put on credit side as well. Two steps completed. Step 3 is to choose smaller side. Here total was 0, so smaller side is credit side. Write down here by balance. And how would you calculate it? It's an initial balance by subtracting smaller total from the larger total. So what you will do, smaller sum minus larger sum minus smaller sum. What was the larger sum? 6,000, and smaller sum is 0. Put over here. So first step is completed. You had calculated the balance, initial balance. It's now time to brought it down to the opposite side. We have calculated this balance on credit side, so we will go to the opposite side, means debit side, and we'll write the same balance over here with a twisted name. Now we will call it the balance, but this balance would be considered at brought down. This was our requirement for the salaries ledger. Requirement completed means ledger completed. Mark it as it has been done by putting the closing line. These two balances were written just for the reference. Now they are not needed. Erase them. So salaries ledger is completed. It's time to see if there is anything else in our journal. Salaries we were making, it has been marked, done. Only one entry left. So we are now going to make ledger for rent. Since our format is similar, so we are taking headings from the previous ledger and writing same headings for next ledger, and it is, I think, rent. Let's change the title, rent, and change the number as well. It's 17th ledger. All headings for new ledger is similar. We are making rent ledger for rent. It is debited by 4,000. So go to the ledger of rent, choose debit side and write down 4,000. So what you have done, you are making ledger for the rent and you have posted 4,000. See what is the reference that is written on the opposite side. To bank is written at the opposite side, so you will be writing bank in particulars column. See what was its date, January 31B. So you are needed to put January 31 but B entry. So here you have posted for January 31B. It means this entry is posted. Mark it as it has been done. So nothing else is present elsewhere. It means all posting related to rent ledger is completed. It's time to calculate the balance. First step is to see sum of debit side 4,000. Only one amount is present. Sum of credit side is 0. Nothing is present over here. Make a comparison which amount is the larger amount, that is 4,000. So what you will do, you will write larger sum on both sides. 4,000 you will be writing over here, and same total you will be putting on credit side, exactly opposite but parallel. Same row you have chosen, please keep it in mind. Two steps completed. Now third step is to choose smaller side. Smaller sum was 0, so here is smaller side. Write down here by balance. This is initial balance. How would you calculate it? By subtracting smaller sum from the larger sum. That means larger minus smaller sum. Now calculate what was the larger sum. It was 4,000. You will subtract smaller sum, which was 0. So first step has been completed for calculation of balance. You have calculated initial balance. Next step to brought it down to the opposite side. You have calculated this balance on credit side, so we will go to the debit side downwards and will write the same balance over here with a twisted name. Name of this balance would be balance brought down, as we have taken downwards to the opposite side. This is why it is called balance brought down, and this was our requirement for making a ledger. Requirement completed. It means ledger completed. Mark it as it has been done by putting a smaller line, a closing line after it. These sums were written just for the reference. Now they are not needed to be written over here. Erase them. It was rent ledger, and you can see there was rent marked. And look at this, each and every amount over here is now marked. What is this scene showing? That all entries are posted into the ledger. So what we have done, we have started from here step by step. First, second, third ledger, purchase ledger, then Karachi. We have made all of these ledger. You can see this was our hard work. Rent ledger is completed, but keep it in mind, we have completed two steps. As earlier it was mentioned that we will make journal first, we'll convert that journal into ledgers, and third step is to make trial balance. So here two steps are completed. All journal entries we have completed, and next step was to make ledgers. All ledgers we have completed, so it's time to make the trial balance. Here we will be drawing the format for trial balance. So guys, here is your journal, ledgers, and just next to ledgers we are going to make trial balance. For trial balance, what you need is first column that will be used to write down the number, ledger number, and then title or detail. So you will write down the title over here. Here you will write the amount for debit side, amount for credit side over here. So this is total format, and you will be using this format for making trial balance. And here is your format for trial balance. Please understand how many columns we have used over here. All right, first column will be used for the numbers. Here is title, where you will write the name of your ledger. That means you will be writing title over here, and then you are going to write amount on debit side, amount on credit side. All right, how you will write amount on debit and credit side, this is a matter of understanding. For first ledger, you can see ledger number 1, cash ledger. I will let you know how to write amount on debit side and when to write amount on credit side. We are now going to post our first ledger. Title is cash. Okay, here you have two balances. One balance initial and second balance is brought down. This is our main target of focusing. You will focus only upon balance. You will look at the balance which is brought down. You will not be looking at initial balance. We have highlighted it. This balance and side of this balance is very important to know. You will be focusing on what? The balance which has been brought down. So balance is 83,100, and which side you have choose to brought it down? That is debit. So if balance is brought down on debit side, you will choose debit side of the trial balance as well. How much balance it is? 83,100. So you are going to put same balance which is written in front of balance brought down. Same side you will choose. This balance was brought down on debit side. You have chosen the same side, debit, and amount written in front of balance brought down was 83,100, and same amount you have posted in front of cash. So this is the way how you would record your all of the transaction in trial balance. Rule is very simple. If balance is written on debit side, you will post on debit side. But which balance? Balance which has been brought down. First ledger we have completed. Now it's time to see second ledger, which is capital. Put number first. And what is title of this ledger? That is capital. See where the balance is brought down. Here, capital ledger. Balance is brought down on which side? Credit side, 20,000. So you will write 20,000 on your credit side. Simple procedure we are doing. The balance brought down we will be looking, and we will see where this balance brought down has been written. Balance brought down was written on credit side. You have chosen credit side. Amount was 20,000, and same amount you have posted on the credit side. Two ledgers are completed. Now third ledger. Third ledger was for bank. Write down title first. And what you will see next? You will see balance brought down. This is your ledger. Balance is brought down on debit side, 66,000. So what you will do? You will go to the trial balance and will see bank. Balance is written on the debit side. Here bank, balance is brought down over here. Amount is 66,000. It is written on debit side. So what you have done? You have chosen debit side and write down the same balance which was brought down, same amount. So recording of bank account is completed. It's time to see what is fourth ledger. That is furniture. So you will write the title first. Number you have already posted. It's time to see the balance which is brought down. We are making furniture's ledger. We will go to balance brought down. It is written on debit side, so we will choose the debit side, 10,000. Furniture ledgers recording is completed in trial balance. Simple is this. You will see balance brought down, you will see the side, and that's all. Ledger number 5 we are up to. Now let's see what fifth ledger is. It is purchase ledger. Write down its title, purchase. Okay, let's see where its balance is. We are making what? Purchase ledger. See where this balance is brought down. That is debit side. Balance is 59,000. So you have chosen debit side and written the balance which has been brought down. Ledger number 5 is completed. Now let's see what ledger number 6 is saying. Ledger 6 is for Karachi store. Write down the title, Karachi, over here. Now see where the balance is written. Balance brought down we are looking. Karachi store ledger. No balance is present over here. Okay, it means balance is automatically been completed. So you are not needed to write any balance, or you may write 0, but even 0 is unnecessary to be written over here. Since both sides were equal, balance was not calculated in the ledger, so you may leave it, you may put it 0, it's up to you. Let's see what seventh ledger is saying to us. It is ledger for sale. Put title first. We are making sales ledger. Now let's see where its balance is. This is your sales ledger. See where its balance. Okay, credit side. Balance we have brought down to the credit side. So we will choose credit side, and balance was 48,000. Here you have chosen credit side and written balance 48,000 in front of sale. It means it is completed. Let's see what eighth number of ledger is. We have now, you can understand why these numbers were important. So eighth ledger is Rafiq's ledger. We will put name of Rafiq, name of ledger over here. And next step is to see where balance has been brought down for Rafiq. Look at that, there is no balance on either side. It means Rafiq is automatically closed. No balance was calculated as both sides were equal. When no balance is calculated in Rafiq's ledger, so you may leave it or you may write 0 on both sides as both sides were equal. Let's go to the ninth ledger. And ninth ledger was for return out. Gave title first for the ninth number, and that was return out. Let's see what return out is saying. It was ledger number 9. Okay, let's go to ninth ledger. Here we have ninth ledger. You can see the balance is brought down over here. We were making return out. Balance is brought down on credit side and balance was 3,000. So we will choose the same credit side in trial balance and we'll write down 3,000. This is your credit side. You have chosen 3,000 is written in front of return out. Ledger number 9 is completed. Now ledger number 10. First we will see what is title for ledger. Number is what? 10. So here ledger number 10 is written out. Write down number first. Ledger number 10 is return in. Write down title, return in over here. And now we will see where this balance is written. Ledger number 10. This is ledger number 10, return in. Balance is brought down on debit side. Balance is 2,000. So you will choose the same debit side in trial balance and will write 2,000. Okay. So you have chosen debit side and he have written 2,000 in front of return in. Ledger 10 is completed. Now let's see what 11th ledger is saying to us. So here you have 11th ledger, which is for discount received. Go to the trial balance and write down title, which is discount, but it is discount received. Mention it as discount received. Let's see where the balance for discount received is present. So ledger number 11, it is discount received. See where its balance. You have got your balance brought down on which side? Credit side, and balance is 200. So what you will do, you will go to the credit side of the trial balance and will write 200 on credit side. Chosen credit side 200 in front of discount. Ledger number 11 is completed. Now let's see what ledger number 12 is saying. So here we have got ledger number 12, which is discount allowed. Go to the trial balance and write down the title, which is what? Discount allowed. Now ledger number 12, discount allowed, ledger number 12, and we are now going to see where its balance is being written. This is your ledger, discount allowed, and see where balance brought down is present. Here on debit side, balance is 100. What you will do, you will go to the trial balance, will choose debit side and will write 100 in front of discount allowed. So what you have done, chosen debit side, 100 was discount, and you have written in front of 12th ledger in trial balance. Okay, next is to see 13th ledger. Here is your 13th ledger, loss by fire. You will go to the trial balance and will write loss by fire as title. So now you will go to the ledger and see what was the number of this ledger, 13. You will see its balance. This is your 13th ledger, and now see where balance brought down is present. Here on debit side balance is 4000, so you will go to the debit side of trial balance and will write 4000. Here you can see you have chosen debit side and have written 4000 on debit side in front of loss by fire. 13th ledger is completed to be recorded. Now let's see what 14th ledger is saying to us. This is your 14th ledger, drawings. So you are needed to write title, drawings over here. Alright, now go to the ledger and see where balance brought down in drawings are present. This is your drawing ledger. Balance is present on debit side, which is 3000. So what you will do? You will go to the debit side of trial balance, will write 3000 in front of drawings. So here what you have done, you have chosen debit side and have written 3000 in front of drawings. Alright, now it's time to see your 15th ledger. Go downward and see 15th ledger. It is for typewriter. Come to the trial balance and write down the title, which is typewriter. So here you have your title, typewriter. Alright, typewriter written, and now see in the ledger where balance for typewriter is been written. This is your ledger 15. Balance is written on which side? Debit, and balance is 10,000. So you are going to put 10,000 on debit side in front of typewriter. 10,000. 15th ledger is completed. Now 16th ledger, please focus. 16th ledger is for what? Free sampling. First step is to change the title, which is free sample. You can imagine the length of question. Free sampling your ledger title. Now we will see balance brought down in free sampling ledger. This is your ledger number 16, free sampling. Balance is brought down on debit side. Balance was 4000. So what you will do, you will choose debit side of trial balance and will write 4000. So debit side 4000 in front of free sampling. This means recording for free sample is completed. Now you are going to record 17th ledger. First we will see what title of 17th ledger is. Here you have 17th ledger, that is rent. So what you will go to the trial balance and will write title, that is rent. For 17th ledger there was another ledger, salaries. Okay, so 16th is repeated over here. You will change the title. It is 17th ledger, and rent is actually 18th ledger. Okay, now it's time to see 17th ledger. Title is salaries. So you will go to the trial balance and will write down salaries. Okay, for salaries you will see where balance of salary is written. Ledger number is 17. So go to the 17th ledger. Here you have 17th ledger. Balance is brought down on which side? Debit. Balance is 6000. So what you will do, you will go to the trial balance, will choose debit side and will write 6000 in front of salaries. So here 6000 in front of salary, and which side you have chosen? Debit. It's time to see the next ledger, which is 18. So go to 18th ledger. This is rent. It's time to write down the title, which is rent. It is 18th ledger. Now we will see where balance brought down is written in 18th ledger. This is your 18th ledger. Balance brought down is here. Which side? Debit side. And balance is 4,000. So you will go to the trial balance, will write 4,000 on debit side of trial balance. Here debit side 4,000 in front of rent, 18th ledger. Let's see what next ledger is. After 18, that's the end. All balances of ledgers are transferred to the trial balance. Here you can see trial balance was made. Every balance for every title of ledger has been posted. It's time to calculate the total. Now please keep it in your mind that this is maybe the happiest moment when you have worked so hard for 2-3 hours. I think it's less than 3 hours, and it's time to get the fruit. If sum of credit side is equal to sum of debit side, that means every posting is correct. So it's time to calculate the sum now. All right, look at these guys. Trial balance was made, and all title for the ledgers we have already written, and we have written balances for all the title. I'm just overviewing it. One thing I have seen, capital is 20,000. It cannot be 20,000. Capital, okay. Let's see entry for capital. Here you have capital and it is 2 lakh. So 10 is less over here. Just write down one extra zero. It is common thing. Sometime it happens. So you will be writing same zero over here. All right. And same amount over here. Okay, balance brought down was 2 lakh. So here one more zero. So 10 was not written over here. We have rectified it. So it's time to check out the total. We will take the total of both sides. And what will happen? If total of both side is equal, it means our answer would be correct. So here we are just arranging it. Let's take sum of debit side. I am taking help from Excel. So what I will do, I will take sum from here to here. All amounts present on debit side of trial balance. I have got its balance 251,200. It's time to calculate sum of other side as well. I'm again taking help from Excel, but on calculator what you will do, you will write all amounts on calculator. So here is the time to see the fruit of this question, what we have done. If total of this side is equal to total of debit side, it means our answer is correct. Otherwise we will go back to the journal, we will go back to the ledger and we'll check the mistake and we'll see if there is any mistake present in journal and ledger. We will rectify it and we will make it equal. Let's hope that we are not required to do all of that. So here we have the total of credit side as well, 251,200. So thankfully total of both side are automatically be equalized. We are no need to go to journal again. We are no need to check our ledgers again. All amounts posted in the journal ledger is accurate. Why? Because trial balance is automatically been equalized. 251,200 is our answer for the trial balance. This is the happy moment. You like, for me, I'm enjoying. I'm hopefully, if somebody had given the full time for this question, he would also be enjoying the moment that each and every entry, every journal entry in the journal is written in correct way. All amounts written in journals are written correct way. And look at the volume of this question. What we have started from here and we have written amount by amount by amount, and this longer ledgers we have completed, and then last step was to calculate the trial balance, and this we have also calculated the trial balance, and what we have got are totals 251. Please take a moment to see its arrangement. What I'm requesting is, though I'm using Excel, you may argue that Excel can be arranged, but it's up to you. Even by using modern gadgets, we will not be able to getting extreme benefits or ultra benefits from the technology. But here I'm just requesting to view everything is arranged, organized, and as a teacher I'm requesting you, and I'm very hopeful that you will accept my request. Whenever you are doing this work on your copies, registers, or computers, I am hopeful you are doing the same work, same organized and proper way. Let's hope for the best. So in this way our ledger are completed, trial balance completed. So what was promised to make journal, ledger and trial balance, we have completed our journal, we have completed our ledgers, we have completed our trial balance. Answer is match. It means our work for this illustration has been completed. We will surely meet for the solution of any other question. Until then, please take care of yourself, and I'm requesting to pray for me as well. Thank you very much for your time. Please permit me. Allah Hafiz.